Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for checking out the last video, but let's get right into it. Steam. Steam is a company I am tired of people talking about. Every platform I go to, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, or X now, Reddit, literally anything, the Steam glaze needs to end. Alright? Now, I'd like to preface this by saying that I don't think Steam is the worst company in the world. I don't think it's a bad company. It's just people online put this company on a pedestal. They'll use phrases like, Gabe Newell is the only good billionaire. Steam is the good Monopoly. And it's just like, man, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? So, yeah, I don't think Steam is the worst company in the world. I think among gaming companies, it's probably one of, if not the best, mainstream gaming company. Xbox has exclusively released shitty single games, or what are they called? Console exclusive games for the past, I don't know, 10 years. Halo has been ruined for a while now. I've given up on it. PlayStation is just a shitty company in general. I don't have a PlayStation, so I really can't comment on them, but the only thing they have going for them is their exclusives. Other than that, I hear people bitching about them all the time. Like, for example, the new thing they're doing with the phasing out of discs. And then, of course, the other big one, Nintendo. Do I even have to say anything? People have very, to say the least, controversial opinions on Nintendo. So Steam, in comparison to these, is a decent publisher. They don't make the same shitty mistakes that these companies do. I mean, look at Epic Games Launcher. The only game I play in there is Fortnite. I don't play it that often, but oh my god, I don't know if it's just a me problem or my computer, but it takes, what would take Steam an hour to download, on Epic Games takes me anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours to download. I don't know why. It's not my internet, it's not my disk speed, I really have no idea. So Steam, in comparison, it seems pretty good. My complaint with people and Steam is not that Steam is a bad company that we should be hating. No, it's that we need to understand that Steam, despite all they do, they still only do the bare minimum. We as consumers should be expecting much, much more from our gaming companies. Alright? And the complacency, all this, the glaze, it needs to end. You're making the company complacent, if it's not already complacent, which, I mean, really it is. I wrote a little paper here with some of my main points. So basically, the first thing I want to talk about is Steam's refund policy. This is something I see celebrated on a lot of platforms like Reddit and X and Instagram, where people talk about how, Steam, they're so generous with their refund policy. But then you look at it, and then you see Steam's refund policy. What is it? You have like 2 hours on a game before. If you have more than 2 hours, you can't refund the game normally. You'd have to contact support, which is crazy. Half the games out there nowadays take 2 hours to even really get finished with the tutorial. I mean, let's talk about a complex game. Any Crusader Kings title, any really strategy game, pretty much anything except for first-person shooters, it's really hard to get an understanding for the game in 2 hours. Like, you'll learn a couple quick mechanics, but you won't learn the intricacies of the game. And that sucks because, that's going to determine whether you like the game and whether you want to keep it. And then we have the 2-week return policy, which frankly, I don't think this is as bad as the 2-hour thing. But at the same time, only 2 weeks, if you haven't played a game for that long, after buying it, why only 2 weeks? Why that? Why not a month? Why not 3 months? I'd like to compare this to buying, I don't know, a tool from a hardware store or a superstore, whatever. Gaming is not like a food item that, you know, it can go bad and be returned. Games don't go bad. They're the same no matter how you play them. Like a hammer, I guess. You could go buy a hammer from the store, from Walmart right now, and you could keep it in your garage for, I don't know, 3 months pretty much, and as long as you have the receipt, you could go back and return it. You could lose it entirely, you could just go back and return it. Imagine, this is a quick scenario I just thought of that may happen to somebody. What if you buy a game on Steam and, I don't know, less than a day later, while you're downloading, your computer just bricks. And, you know, you have a lot more priorities than logging on to their mobile website and doing that. Like, you're trying to find a way to fix your computer. And, you know, let's say you forget about that game and your computer gets fixed 2 weeks after. And you play the game, then you realize that, oh, I hate this. And even if you only have 10 minutes on the game, oh, that's too bad. You know, you owned it for more than 2 weeks. That's crazy. That's insane to me. We should be expecting a game not played to be refundable for months, maybe even like up to a year. I understand games, you know, they need that money, and like, you know, if a game was released 5 years ago, just taking the money from it, like, especially if it's like a bankrupt company, that's going to be a lot harder. But we ought to give it much more reasonable. And it's insane to be people glaze this. And then, this is the part that pisses me off. People, they contact support because, you know, they have more than 2 hours on the game, but, you know, they realize that their hardware specs just aren't good enough to do it. So they go out of their way to contact support, and what do you know? Support gives them a refund. They, as Redditors love to say, they fought for them. And I'm like, what? Of course you should get a refund. You asked for a refund, you should get a refund. There's no reason you should even have to contact support about this. That's insane. I remember one time I did this with a game on Xbox. I think it was Halo Wars 2 bundle. Really loved that game. But the bundle, I couldn't get it to download for some reason. So all I did was I got the refund by simply saying, I'm having issues doing this shit to my device. I think it was in a drop-down menu. You know, I didn't have to type out anything. I'm pretty sure this was like 5 years ago. And I got the refund, full refund, within an hour. You know, it was an automatic process. And Steam, you shouldn't be expected to do this. That's insane. They are not fighting for you. They are doing the bare minimum, like Steam always does, the bare minimum. God, I'm spitting everywhere. Jesus. Alright, now my next point. Loot boxes. This is something people tend to forget, since for the most part, I feel like loot boxes have really kind of disappeared in favor of battle passes and the like in recent times. But if you were a gamer, I hate saying that word gamer. I feel like a Redditor when I say that. But you would know that, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, they were really a problem on many, many games. Felt like Roblox was one for sure. And sure, Steam, they didn't invent loot boxes. That's been a thing forever, especially in the Eastern markets, China, Japan, Korea. These have been a mechanic for a while. I believe they're called gacha games, although frankly, I couldn't tell you the exact definition of what one is. But Steam, they saw this with TF2, and they added in their loot boxes for the special gear, and it all just went downhill from that. Steam, this big company, they added it to their monumental new game, and what do you know? It was a thing plaguing games for 10 years, and people just forget about it. They forget about it. You know? They think it was natural. No, it wasn't natural. Do I think it was inevitably gonna happen someday? Yeah, I do. But Steam is really the one that made it mainstream, which is, you know, that's worse than a lot of the things Xbox, Nintendo, Sony do, and people just fucking forget about this. And this one is a big one for me. Half-Life 2 will never release. If you think that by now, you're stupid. Alright? I thought Half-Life 2 was going to release like a year ago. I was hoping, I was seeing those leaks. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. But, you know, I come to the realization, nothing ever happens. It's been 10 years already. It's been 20 years, for fuck's sake, with Half-Life 2. And nearly 20 years. I don't remember exactly when it was released, like 2004? As if that's 20 years. I'll look it up later. But they're not releasing another game. They don't make new games. They don't make sequels. People have been begging for a fix for TF2 forever. I tried to play TF2 for the first time, I want to say freshman year of high school, a couple of years ago. And there were bots everywhere. They were spamming chat. I couldn't even fucking use voice chat unless I spent $5 in the game. Or it might have been $5 on Steam. I don't remember. This might have been a new Steam account. But either way, voice chat. That's such a simple fucking thing. Do you have any idea how many free first-person shooter games there are out there with free voice chat? That's insane. And they say they're doing it to protect from bots. No, that's a way for them to, you know, get money from you. $5 doesn't sound like a lot, but you get 1 million people to do it, that's $5 million. Just for free. Just so people could talk to other people. They don't update their games, they don't care about their games. And if you're gonna go in my comments and be like, oh, but they released Half-Life Alyx. Yeah, it was on VR. I don't have VR. I would, off the top of my head, I would say 99% of people don't have VR. I never played the game. And I can't speak on the first and second part of Half-Life 2, because I haven't played them, but from the videos I've watched about them, they don't really seem to add too much, and I mean, they do, but they don't, you know. Half-Life 3 is never coming. And if I'm ever proven wrong, then, you know, I'll pin a comment under this video calling myself a dumbass. How about that? But I'd wager it never comes out. They don't care about their old games. The people who develop those games, I mean, I don't know the exact facts, but I'd wager to say they're probably not even at the studio anymore. I mean, look at Bungie, the creators of Halo. I think they have like less than 10 people from the creation of Halo 20 years ago still in their company, and I'd have to assume it's probably similar in Valve. They don't care. The same talent who made those games is not there anymore, and if you're going to bring up something like Deadlock, I'm talking a mainstream game. TF2, very mainstream. Half-Life 2, very mainstream. Even Portal. I didn't really like Portal, but people love that game. Can't deny that. So they don't care. Now, let's talk about another thing. Steam doesn't even sell you games. This is a big thing. I fell into this rabbit hole when I was trying to purchase Morrowind a couple months ago, and I figured out that Steam doesn't actually sell you the game. They sell you a license to play the game. What? And then I go deeper in. Steam literally won a digital rights case in France to sell licenses to play games, not the games themselves. This means if Steam ever decided to, they could just take away your license, and I don't think you could do anything. Sure, you could bitch and moan and start a lawsuit, but you're not getting anything out of that. I can almost guarantee you, I'm sure they have a lot better lawyers and a lot tighter contracts than you or I think. No normal person reads the 40-page user agreement, so most people don't even know this. And sure, I don't think Steam is going to take away people's games, but who knows once the current leaders of Steam die and get replaced. I could very much see it happening. They say that's a problem, you know, the whole Stop Killing Games movement. The people who support that movement, you ought to fucking bitch and moan to Steam, too. Because they are a big part of it. What was my final point? And that is the shit, like, Steam is a good monopoly. What? There is no such thing as a good monopoly. This is just completely lacking in common sense. Competition causes change for the better. People are going to look for the better product. Competition is in our capitalistic society is a good thing. And Steam owns a monopoly. I'm going to say that. That's controversial because, you know, they're not like oil barons. They're not going around actively smashing their competition down into the ground. But Steam owns a monopoly simply by the fact that, you know, they have a majority of the PC gaming market. They have about 70%, give or take 5%, which is a majority. And then you think, oh, dude, how many more game platforms? You got Epic Games, creators of one of the most popular games of all time, Fortnite Battle Royale. And you have GOG Games, who makes retro games. That's where I bought Morrowind for. Shout out to them. And there's no such thing as a good monopoly. They're not actively squishing their competition. Don't call them a fucking good monopoly, though. And now, let's talk about this Gabe Newell. Has he done a lot of good things for gaming? Yeah. But he's a billionaire, and I hate to say it, because it makes me sound like, I don't know, some entitled person, I guess you would say. Maybe a communist, maybe. There's no good billionaire. There's never, in the history of the world, been a good billionaire. Alright? Unless you're literally like a literal fucking baby, and you're born to a billionaire, and then he dies immediately after, and you inherit that wealth. If you're becoming a billionaire in your lifetime, you're not a good person. You're not a good person. You could use that money, that billions in profit, and give it to your employees. Like, and you could go in my comments and say shit like, oh, Steam famously treats their employees super well. Yeah, they could treat them better. I feel like everybody should have this sentiment. We should always look for more in our treatment. I mean, this is a premise of capitalism where it's make more no matter what. You know, always have your stocks going up. Shareholders, please the shareholders. And why can't we apply that same logic to our lifestyles? We should always be improving upon our quality of life. That is a good, ambitious thing to do. Complacency is a thief. It thieves you of the future, of a better future. And there's no good billionaire. Think of, I can't remember, I think this is from Bill Gates. He said around $700 million is where he found that he literally could not spend what he was making. So, if we apply that logic, then why doesn't Gabe just give away his fucking money? Instead of buying a super yacht for, a super yacht! Same dudes who talk about fucking, how Taylor Swift is so evil for using her jet, which, you know, I don't like that either. But they will turn around and say, oh, dude, Gabe Newell's so awesome, he earned this super yacht. Who the fuck even needs a super yacht? Why can't you make do with a normal yacht? You don't need something that big. Oh my god, man. Oh my god. It pisses me off so much. I guess my thesis for the video is, if you're a Steam fanboy in 2026, you're like a Nintendo fanboy from 10 years ago. You're the same dudes who cry about, oh, don't emulate Nintendo games. You're the same person, alright? Is Steam a bad company? No, I don't think they are. Is Valve a bad company? I don't think they are. But we should always be looking for better, no matter what. And this is insane to me. This is a controversial opinion. So, that's pretty much my thoughts. I think I probably missed something here and there that I'd love to talk about another day. Hopefully the day when people realize that Steam isn't their friend. It's just another company who wants your money. Even if they're not publicly traded, the dude still wants your money. He wants to buy the super duper yacht. But now I'm done with that. Crazy reception on the last video about Charlie, and mostly negative. You know, I expected that. I'm okay with that. I think it's good when people disagree to an extent. If you would check the comments, I recognized a couple things that people said there. You know, there's some shit that was fair. Charlie does take opinions occasionally. You know, it was brought up ICE, them practically murdering that woman, or the man. I think the woman's a little more dubious, but that's another topic for another time. But the man, the nurse, you know, he made a video talking about how horrible that was. And that is a strong opinion. So I will give him that. But the thing is, the dude, 90% of his shit, he doesn't care. I wrote this a lot in the comments. Great passion inspires great emotion, right or wrong. And since the guy never really gives a strong opinion about the majority of his content, I'd reckon to say that he's just trying to get that back. You know, he doesn't care about what he's talking about. I care about what I'm talking about. If you can't tell, because, you know, I was obviously kind of angry in that last video. But, you know, I'm okay with the hate. I think that's okay. And if anybody wants to correct me about something in the comments that I might have gotten wrong, but go ahead, man. I'll concede sometimes. I like to think of myself as a person who doesn't have that big of an ego. Just saying that makes me think I have a big ego. And just to end off the video, check out what I was recording next to. Check out this garden. Oh yeah, check out this swamp milkweed. I had a monarch caterpillar on there a couple weeks ago. It was really cool. Not all native plants. Someday though. I bought butterfly bush because it said butterfly bush. Trying to keep it well maintained though. But thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, dislike if you didn't like it. And thanks for the support on the last video, whether it was negative or positive. I appreciate every one of y'all, even if you hated it, because that shows, you know, you care, and that's more than Charlie can say.